welcome to this special roundtable edition of Coffee and Uche Okeke. I'm Salma Uche Okeke with Chuma Uche Okeke, your hosts today, and it's our pleasure to introduce two emerging artists, Jaida Yahya and Kaira Uche Okeke, who join us to explore meaningful insights into their creative journeys. Jaida Yahya is a 19-year-old aspiring concept artist studying comic and concept art at Leeds Arts University. Her passion lies in creating characters, backgrounds, and props, drawing inspiration from such artists as Alberto Milgo and Jessica Rosia, while also finding inspiration in Professor Uche Okeke's distinctive abstract use of color. Kaira Uche Okeke, on the other hand, is a granddaughter of Professor Uche Okeke and is currently a sophomore studying architecture at Texas Tech University. Growing up surrounded by her grandfather's artistic legacy, Kaira integrates her interests in visual arts and writing, continually examining how her grandfather's work influences her studies and creative development. We are thrilled to discuss the profound and lasting impact of Professor Okeke's legacy, especially how it resonates with the next generation of artists. Hello, Jaida. Hello, Kaira. Welcome.
Hi.
Thank you.
Hello, Jaida and Kaira. Welcome to our podcast.
You know, Chuma, I was thinking what a coincidence it is that both Jaida and Kaira are actually birthday mates. Did you notice that?
Yes, I did. It's a real interesting coincidence. Birthday mates exactly 1 year apart. Really interesting.
Really, really interesting. And Jaida and Kaira, you guys have gotten a little bit acquainted in this process, haven't you?
We spoke over text a few days ago, and we actually exchanged Instagram handles, and we both sketch. She does more of digital art. I do more of like portraits and sketchbooks, but we're both artists, and we actually both like the same. We both like the same Spider-Man movie, which was very fun to find out.
So we just dive straight into it and get straight to the questions. So, Jaida, what initially sparked your interest in art? And specifically, what kind of art are you most drawn to?
I don't think there was anything specific that sparked my interest in art. I think I always just had an interest in it and would always just sketch things here and there. And then when the pandemic hit in 2020, that's when I had time to explore how I felt about art and how I wanted to take it further as a career and something I wanted to do in university. Concept art specifically. Concept art is basically designing the assets that go into shows and movies and comics and stuff, designing characters, environments, props, things like that.
It's quite interesting.
Similar to what Jaida said, I actually can't remember a specific event that sparked my interest in art. I've been drawing, coloring using crayons for my entire life. It feels like maybe since I was 2, since I could hold a pencil or a crayon. And I think I want to say that people started to tell me that, I have some sort of inclination for art when I was just entering secondary school, and people were seeing my art. I would be sketching somewhere and someone would be like, "Oh wow, this is so nice. Wow, you can really draw." I was like, "Oh, seriously, I did not know that." So I was all like, okay, I guess if this is something I'm good at, I should probably start taking it more seriously. And eventually I found myself in this field, architecture, from my love for technical drawing, because I was a science student before I entered the college. So I just kind of felt like architecture is basically the perfect combination of science and arts. Yeah.
Even though you're not currently based in Nigeria, Professor Uche Okeke emphasized the importance of cultural identity, the influence of where you come, your own ancestral culture, on your identity. So how do you think this cultural identity influences the kind of art or the direction of your career going forward?
As a young artist, growing up in Lagos, as an Igbo person too, growing up around other, ethnicities, not just Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, Edo, and so on. And then going on to go to school in a university abroad where there's even an even wider range of people from different cultures, I think I just recently became very, very interested in learning more about Igbo arts and Uli and, Nigerian modern arts and, what's my grandfather, his specialty, essentially. And I think it's really important for a group of people like Igbo people or any other ethnicity to have their own type or their own art style, just influenced by maybe socioeconomic factors, and it shows personality, and there's differences between every ethnicity. And for me, I want that to show in my architecture, in my work in the future. When I hopefully become a successful architect, I want to be able to show that my culture has affected or influenced my work. Igbo art is very beautiful, so I definitely want to show that I am Igbo.
Some kind of similar to what Kaira said. I want my culture to show in my work as well, because I'm also Igbo and I'm like part Igbo also, and I want to bring that into my work, and I want to bring it to more public eye in a sense, like, because concept art is like designing assets and stuff. So I want to like design characters that show Nigerian culture in the public eye to give more representation to our culture.
Jaida, do you feel that showing your cultural heritage, I didn't even know you were Igbo in the first place, but it's not peculiar to being an Igbo person. It's whatever your culture is, do you want to bring it to bear? Because I think that is how you create a kind of uniqueness in your art, and how you bring something extra to the table. Is that how you see it?
Bringing your culture into it brings like a certain uniqueness into it, because it's a shared thing, but everyone has their own like relationship to their culture. So you'll definitely influence your art in a unique way.
Our dad used to point out some of the similarities to me. It's a form of writing, actually. Those things have meaning. There's another form of Igbo writing. This is pre-colonial. It's called the CPD. And the funny thing is that if you notice those designs on most of these buildings in the north, the designs, not the Arabic ones. They have other designs. They are lines. Right? There's a lot of similarity between Uli and those patterns, and those things have meanings also. So it's really interesting to note that in Nigeria we had pre-colonial forms of script which are just being exposed now. So I think there's a lot of room for research and all that in that direction.
We all know that Uche Okeke's career highlighted dedication to research, teaching, and exploring cultural identity through art. Glad that you both are beginning to be interested in exploring cultural identity through art. But it will be interesting to find out, as you progress as young people and you consider a future in the art world, which of these aspects resonates most with you? Is it the research, the teaching, or the exploration of cultural identity through art? And why?
For me, the research and exploration of cultural identity through art are most interesting to me. Somebody like Uche Okeke, of my grandfather, he had to, research from previous art forms, and he was also, kind of inspired by that to form his own creative, unique art style through that. And he explored his own relationship with Igbo culture and, through his art and the Uli. He popularized it.
Yes. Is that why those two resonate with you?
To see someone who is a famous artist in textbooks, and he has art galleries, and he has his own Wikipedia page. He was also once, because to research something, you had to have not known much about it before you started your research. And I think it's very inspiring to me to see.
As you progress in your creative journey, do you think that it will make a difference in the kind of art or architecture that you create in the future?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. I mean, researching for any form of art, when you put research into your art, it has now added new layers of complexity to the art, and it's not just surface level about beauty. your art now has,
Deeper meaning. Yeah.
there's a deeper meaning.
Yeah,
So it's just very beautiful to see. And I hope to also have that level of intricacy in my own art one day.
So you do agree that the research, and the exploration of cultural identity are things that make the art that is created a little bit more meaningful.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah.
Jaida, what do you think about this? As you explore your future, as you evolve?
I find it interesting to look back on works that have been created years and years ago and things that artists have done, like way before I was born, and for me to look at it and interpret it in a way that I understand it.
Actually, in the kind of art you create, you really must do some research. You really must dig backwards, and then interpret it in your own new way.
Considering the advancements in technology and the use of social media, artificial intelligence, and all, how do you young ladies see AI generated art, NFTs, and computers to generate art? And how do you envision yourself getting involved in all that? And like, for example, Kaira is doing architecture and industrial design, and there's already a lot of computer-aided design. And then Jaida, you're into conceptual art. How do you young ladies intend to utilize all that technology, and how much influence do you think it has on our art?
Personally, I don't think, for AI specifically, I don't think AI has a place in the art world, because I think art is a very human thing, and I think it needs someone behind it to create it. And I think when art is produced using artificial intelligence, it doesn't have that same.
It is no longer creative, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, this argument is coming up in all genres of art, writing, and all that. I was listening the other day. We went for the Chimamanda book launch, and somebody brought that kind of question, and she said, no, she doesn't use AI to write. For instance, I was listening to somebody on TV, a writer also on CNN, and he also brought that. They had made some bots that from his books, and it was like stealing his concept, because they feed it into the bots, and then those ones create stuff it's just mechanical and doesn't have that creativity, and he was taking it up. So I quite understand what you're saying, Jaida, that but wouldn't you do any kind of AI generated art at all? You wouldn't do NFTs, at all?
No, I don't think I would.
All right. That's interesting for someone of your age as well.
I agree with Jaida to some extent. There's actually, it's a fact that artificial intelligence, like generating AI, is not in any way, shape, or form creative. It's just a combination of all the stuff that humans feed the AI, which is art from other people. But there's definitely, AI could be used for the more menial tasks. So if you're trying to research for art, or the things that would be more hectic for you to do just in the background, you can't use AI to do the art itself. Or maybe if you're writing a book and you are looking for a specific background history on a specific town or something, I think AI is useful for that. But not to give the AI to write the entire book for you. There has to be some form of plagiarism. Like, that's just, I don't think that's okay. And it's also becoming a problem, because now people our age in school, they're very lazy. They've become lazy now because they have this tool, this AI tool that helps them, just defeats the purpose of all individual thinking or original thought. And it's a real problem. People use AI to do literally everything. Some people don't even know what to make themselves for breakfast in the morning, and they ask AI to give them ideas. But AI has a purpose, especially in architecture, where you're trying to maybe figure out you would already know these things. I don't think architecture really requires AI, but AI could also be a good place to get ideas or inspiration from, maybe color palettes, something like that. Just not to give the AI to do all the work. It just doesn't make sense to me.
So what you're saying is that you would use AI to a certain extent, You'd use AI for your research. You would use AI, for some parts of your modeling, isn't it?
Yeah. That's how AI was meant to be used. That's how AI was.
It's meant to be an aid, but the creativity itself has to come from the human. And so,
Yeah.
It's quite interesting that you two young people are thinking that yes, there's no creativity without the human being right behind it, because the AI is really what you feed into it that it has. It can't generate anything on its own. Yeah.
I definitely agree that it should be used for like menial tasks and stuff, but probably when it's developed a little bit more, because I think I know there have been many instances of AI feeding like wrong information and like
Oh yeah, that's true.
things like that.
Okay.
I think probably like down the line, I think it could be used in a menial way, but just for now, it's not.
It's probably okay for when you want to write something, just the small something. You can use the AI to organize.
When AI feeds you incorrect answers, there's really no one to blame but yourself for, depending entirely on the credibility of artificial intelligence. Like if you're giving the wrong information, or even there's an issue with who do you, if someone is using AI to create art and selling it, and the AI accidentally creates something that's very similar to what a human created. Like, who do you blame for that? It's not like the humans that created the AI were aware of, that it would create maybe accidentally plagiarize.
The NFTs, for instance, you guys do know about art that is produced that way, or what do you think about it? Because they've had
But NFTs, I'm going to say that NFTs are not really popular with bad reputation, because around the cryptocurrency, NFTs are not really art. They're just a form of cryptocurrency. So they kind of have a weird reputation with our generation, or from what I've seen, people don't really trust that, that you buy an NFT for 15 million. It's basically like gambling. So,
Yeah, I think AI is definitely like more of a thing with our generation than NFTs.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Yeah. So when you both think of an art related career, what specific roles or industries come to mind for you?
At first, I wanted to be an artist, like paint on canvas type of artist, and then I got into architecture. I didn't really see myself pivoting to do anything else like majorly, but on the side, I definitely have other endeavors I wish to pursue, like my writing. I hope to continue with that. And I mean, I was even thinking at one point, but I don't think that would be a big part of my career. But I just to say that, I have a lot of artistic passions that I want to,
explore
in the future.
Of course, you're still growing, you're still evolving, you're just 18.
Yeah.
The whole world is right there in front of you.
At one point, I also wanted to do like just fine art, like just painting. But then I discovered concept art. So I decided to pursue that in university, and that's something I want to go on to do as a career, like enter the industry and like hopefully make like characters and stuff for games and shows and stuff. Since I've been drawing, I've always been more inclined to draw people and stuff rather than make paintings. And I think when I found out about concept art, it was just something that just clicked, that I just realized like this is what I was basically trying to do.
So now, as you go now, I know it's too early now for you to have found a particular style or identity. I know you're still experimenting, searching, and all that. But how do you feel your style will evolve? Which direction do you think your style is going? And especially considering the great popularity of Nigerian music, Nigerian fashion, do you see yourself developing, a Niger style? How do you see that coming along?
Right now, I'm focusing on more linear improvement, like just being objectively better at all my crafts. But I'm really interested in sort of vintage architecture from the 70s especially, and in Nigeria especially. It's very retro, it's very spacious, and they use a lot of forms that, they don't use anymore, because people are so, focused on something looking futuristic or more modern these days. And when you look at the retro buildings or vintage buildings from the 70s, you can see that, they sort of prioritized not necessarily looking futuristic, but more or less looking like the place is lived in or it has personality. So I really like that.
Architecture from that time, is it when you talk about livability, is it like customized to the environment so that it is more adapted to our environment? Yes.
Yeah.
Is that
Yes.
is that what you
That's what I feel like architecture is should be tailored to.
so this tailoring,
Yes.
does it have to do with things like materials apart from the spatial designs and all that? Does it also have to do with materials?
Yes, not just the designs, also materials, breathability of the house, your environments, maybe the weather conditions of that area, and just to ensure that the people inside the house are, they have maximum comfort and they feel like this is their home.
For me, I think for now, I'm just trying to get the technical skill down before I try to establish my own style.
I did go through your Instagram handle. I did notice a few things that I would say, this is Jaida, but you're still developing it. You haven't really put your mind to it. But there's some things that are like your signature notes on the works you make. Did you notice that so far?
Yeah, I think there's things like, I think as I develop my technical skill like anatomy and all that, there's like certain parts I'll start to draw in a way that in my own style, I guess. But I think as a whole, like I haven't developed
particular style. Yeah. So how are you developing your technical skill?
Just by studying anatomy, studying works of artists that I find inspiring.
Interesting. Beyond creating art, what other skills do you think are essential for a successful career in the art world?
Being able to network with people and being able to share your art in a way that will gain attention and being able to be unique with your work as well.
And those are the extra things that you need to have, beyond creating the art.
Networking is very important. Networking is actually the skill that I'm trying to improve on right now in my college years, because I'm starting to realize just how important it really is to be able to make connections with, important people. And marketing yourself, although marketing yourself has become a lot easier with the rise of social media, and can just post a TikTok and the algorithm will push it for free and then have a wider audience.
So definitely artists, they've always had to sell themselves. I hope you know, when you do exhibitions, when you do talk shows, all those things that I've done are part of promoting the artist. It has always been like that. It's always been about building networks, but now you have technology to help you build faster and build more globally.
Yeah.
So those are real skills that an artist needs. You can't just stay in a hole and producing art and you're just there. Nobody would know that you're even doing it. I think we're all agreed on that.
Yeah.
So if you could fast forward to 10 to 15 years, are you even able to do that? Or what would your ideal art-related career look like?
I definitely hope to be an architect. I'm not sure if it would be better for me to work at a firm or just kind of be my own, like, freelance of sorts. And I hope to have at least published a few books, maybe 2 or 3, and, painting, drawing, whatever, really. But architecture is definitely, I hope to be a successful architect.
Hopefully, I want to be working at a concept art studio and helping design characters for TV shows or games.
And that would have to be outside Nigeria, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So you're not even, are you thinking of at some point developing concept art in Nigeria as well? Because I'm not sure how well it is known, that kind of art here in Nigeria for now.
I think it would definitely be more difficult to do in Nigeria, which is why it would be something I'll do abroad. Because I don't think there's really a market yet.
For now. But in the next 10 to 15 years, with Nollywood in place and all that.
Yeah, if there's a market for it there in 10 to 15 years, then I'll want to create something.
Okay. So we'll see. That's really good. So for a final question, I'd like to invite you both to picture a moment, single scene captured as a lasting artwork displayed publicly as a permanent representation of your personal vision and values. In this scene, join a cup of coffee. Can you describe the setting in detail and tell us who is sharing this meaningful space with you, embodying your own unique expression and perspective on life?
I guess this would be set in my ideal setting. I'm thinking of a cafe in Japan because I've always been so interested in Japanese architecture and the centuries of history behind it. And I would actually be alone just because I think in my ideal, peaceful setting, I would be alone.
So if it was to be like a work of art, there will be that Japanese setting for you, and you'll be alone, sipping your cup of coffee. Would you be doing any work? Would you be listening to music?
Yeah, I would be listening to music.
What kind of music would that be?
Oh, honestly, probably jazz, maybe smooth jazz.
In the Japanese thing?
I'll just be looking out at the city, not really doing anything.
Yeah, and that would be a permanent representation if it is displayed publicly of your personal vision and values, right?
Yeah, okay with that.
Yeah. So Jaida, can we have yours?
Oh, weirdly, I would also be in a cafe, but I don't.
Why would you choose a cafe?
I don't know. You said having coffee. So I just immediately pictured coffee.
Oh, people have coffee in different places.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would you choose a cafe?
It just seems like it seems because if I was in a cafe, I think I would be like maybe like sketching in my sketchbook or something, and it feels like a peaceful place to sketch in, and there's like movement and stuff. Maybe I'd like be sat by like a window or something, like people watching them. Yeah.
Would you be alone at your own table, or would you have guests?
Yeah, I think I'd be by myself.
You guys are mostly known as, and then you will be. Are you a coffee?
I think I'd get like hot chocolate, maybe.
Before we go, I just wanted to ask a question that I would have wanted to ask my grandpa if he were here. The question is, as a creative individual with multiple passions, I find that being good at several things has its pros and cons. I'm struggling with the revelation that to master a craft, you have to make it your entire world. But there are so many skills I wish to hone, and seemingly not enough time. How does one figure out where to channel his or her energy and overcome this jack of all trades dilemma?
Very, very good question.
The thing is that if you sit back and look at those things you're trying to master, there might be a common thread through most of those things. So like in your case now, you want to be an architect. You want to design things that will go into the houses that you build. You want to draw pictures, you want to make paintings, you want to write books and poems. The funny thing is that all these things have a common thread, and that is, creativity, the making of something from nothing. So these things are not as different like themselves as you might think. Back in the day before, as humanity goes, we keep breaking things into different specialties. Back in the day of Leonardo da Vinci and all that, all these things you just mentioned were once of them. They were art. It hadn't broken off architecture, and broken off poetry, and broken off literary writing. Everything was one thing. So one artist do all these things. Someone like Leonardo, everything. He did everything. So it's okay. So what you need to do is just focus on your creative process. How do you come up with ideas? How do you actualize them? How do you refine them? You find out distinct skill set for all these things. So I don't think there's a problem there. You're not like trying to be a medical doctor and at the same time trying to be an engineer. These are two different things. All these things you mentioned have that common thread of creativity. So I think you might very well find out that you can achieve all of that.
How relevant this question is I'm sure both of you do not know how multifaceted Uche Okeke was. He did a lot of things in the creative sector. He was an educationist, he was a painter, he did some works in different mediums, multimedia kind of artist. Even though painting was his core, he was involved in driving a vision, an idea that they picked together. He was involved in research. He was in the arts itself. He was involved in drama. He was involved in, I should call it theater. He was involved in writing. He was involved in creating the visual arts, so much that he did, one man.
Design of building, landscaping, the whole lot.
If you know his friend, Dima Smoke, his friend and contemporary, it was art he studied, but he veered up into architecture. I mean, anybody that is studying architecture that wants to know about how Nigerian architecture comes to bear on traditional architecture, comes to bear on modern architectural designs, you have to go to Doko. It's like a activity. It's like a fountain that has so many, branches to it. It will be really difficult for somebody to be just interested in one thing. You have to have a full life. And at this stage, when you're both starting, there's so much ahead. You're still evolving. There's so much in life that you would pick up interest in, but you will also find as you go on, you will know which ones become more relevant for you to go on with. You'll know which ones you actually even have the skills to continue with, apart from the interest. But sometimes you have an interest in something, but you may not really be able to do justice to that particular thing. So at this time, we'll just say embrace everything you can. And like Chuma has said, they're all linked up together anyway. And it's an interesting time for you at this age, because your whole life is in front of you. And it's really exciting because there's so much happening. There's the past and there's the future, and there's a whole lot in between. I hope that has explained something to both of you.
Yes, thank you so much.
So we want to say thank you so much to both of you for making out time, taking time off your busy schedule to be here to lend your voices to our discourse. I mean, these are young voices, but, they do make an important difference to what we keep doing. Thank you for spending this time with us, dear listener. Be sure to check out other episodes available on our website, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Stay connected for more inspiring conversations here on Coffee and Uche Okeke.